Right behind me is this third generation Ford Super Duty. This happens to be an F-350, and we're going to cover the top 5 problems we found with these vehicles today. And one of them you may already be aware of. It actually applies to all Super Duties. But if you don't know about it, well, stay tuned because it might seem innocent, but it actually can get pretty scary. Our first problem is going to be coolant leaking from the radiator, but it's not actually the radiator's fault. So what actually happens is the thermostat bypass creates pressure spikes in the cooling system, and therefore it blows out the radiator. Literally, you can crack it or push a hose off or break the seal right between the plastic end cap and the aluminum, and that's what makes it leak. So in that case, yes, you will have to replace the radiator, but also the thermostat and the thermostat housing, which is what controls all of this and what really causes the issue. Our second problem has to do with the O2 sensors and a check engine light code of P2195 or P2197, or sometimes both, and these indicate a lean condition detected by the computer. Now, here's the trick. In this case, most of the time, even though you should check for a lean condition, it's going to end up being the O2 sensor's fault. They tend to get stuck and basically flatline and say that it's leaned out, but really the engine's running just fine. Once you've diagnosed the problem and you've confirmed that it's the O2 sensors that are bad, we sell them at oneauto.com, so get yourself 1 or 2, whatever you need, and put them in. The problem should be solved. Our third problem is going to be the rear power sliding window. So what happens is the cables bind up, they get sticky, and it causes the window to open and close very slowly or not at all sometimes. Now, obviously this is if your truck even has this option, but unfortunately, if you want to fix this, the only thing you can do is remove the entire glass assembly and replace that because it's all built in. And then you should be good to go, and hopefully it doesn't get stuck on you in the open position. Our fourth problem is diesel specific, and that is the fuel tanks that come on these vehicles. What happens is the inside lining of this fuel tank, imagine kind of like paint falling off of a surface. It bubbles and peels over time from the fuel sitting in there, and it can actually clog up the pump, the low pressure pump that is, the filters, there's 2 filters on these vehicles, and even the high pressure pump, which if it gets to that point, it's pretty bad because at that point, not only can it damage the high pressure pump, it can clog up the injectors, so you're looking at a big repair. But if you catch it soon enough, all you have to do is replace the tank, replace the filters, and of course the low pressure pump, and that should take care of your issue. We sell a lot of these parts at oneauto.com, so if you need them, check us out. Our fifth and last problem, and probably the one that you've been waiting to hear about, is the famous death wobble. And well, if you already know, you know, but basically at higher speeds, typically on the highway, unfortunately, the steering wheel, after you hit a little bump or a crack in the road, if it's bad enough, will just start shaking violently back and forth, and you can't stop it until you slow down, and that's the scary part here. What causes it? Well, actually it can be multiple things, or a combination of things really. So in the front end, if any of your ball and socket joints on the tie rods or on anything that controls the steering are loose, that's going to cause it. It could even somewhat be caused by the ball joints if the wheel gets pushed and has some play, and even the steering stabilizer, if it gets weak over time and if it's not up to holding these wheels nice and steady, that will cause it. So in the end, it is a good idea if you're starting to feel something suspicious going on to replace the entire front end. So do tie rods, drag link, make sure the alignment is set properly through the adjusting sleeves, and of course check that steering stabilizer and preferably replace that too. Now we sell pretty much all of these parts at oneauto.com, so if you need any of these, check us out and get the kit so you can get all this done in just one go.